welcome back, friends, to 3-2, so Chapter 3, Section 2, for Excel 3. I've got a cough drop now, so let's see how we do here. If you've taken a break, again, we're opening back up the calls document that we've been working on, and you should have all of these little guys taken care of in column B, down through workload per hour. So let's go ahead and ensure that our call center log worksheet is still active. And we are going to select a specific range. Now we're going to select a long range, so I'm going to use the name box. The book says to select J5 to J515. I'm going to type that in there and hit enter, which will select those. As you know, when you do that, a little lightning bolt pops up. That's the quick analysis tool. And the quick analysis tool is not in the online Excel. Big shocker there. But it is used to do some special analysis, and it's kind of cool. When you click on it, a bunch of little things pop up. You can also press Control Q when you have a selection, by the way, to bring that up. So on here, we're going to click on Totals. The third button across is Totals. And the Quick Analysis tool is used to create what they call summary statistics. So I'm going to click that one so you can see the different stuff, and then we're going to click the right arrow to scoot over. And you can see that there is a funny little thing called running totals. Running totals is kind of neat because it'll take, like, say that first column where it's cumulative minutes. I'm trying to do it where you can see it all at the same time here. I'll have to click it again now. Okay, running totals. So see that it's doing cumulative minutes. So like the first call is 21 minutes long. The second call is 28 minutes long. So it's adding the 21 to the 28. That's what a running total is. It just keeps adding it and adding it and adding it and adding it. So instead of us having to do a formula to do that, we can click running and do it. So let's click on that. It automatically puts it in the next open cell, and that is the right place. Gosh, I'm sorry. My throat sounds weird. Okay, now we're going to go up and select K5. And if you look at the column, it actually put in a formula for us. It's sum, and then absolute value, so J5, so it's always pointing to J5, up to, and then J5. And then when you copy it down, it's J5 to J6, J5 to J whatever this is. It always starts at J5. So basically, it just put that formula in for us. Okay, that's basically that. Now they're going to have us select the range, and I'm going to go up here again, K5 to K515, which is that running total. And we're going to turn off the bold on that. So back to your Home tab, and just press your bold button to turn that off. All right, and that's pretty much that one. Okay, next page is cell references, and you already know what cell references are. They're when we point to a cell, so we say B5 or B6 or whatever, that's a cell reference. And there's absolute and relative cell references. So just a minute ago, I said that it absolutely looked in J5. Well, that's an absolute cell reference. Absolute cell reference means when we copy it down, that thing, and it has, as you saw on here, I'm going to double click it so you can see it better. It has a $sign on the column and a $sign on the row number. That means both of those stay put. That's an absolute reference for the cell reference because both the J and the 5 have the $sign. If you only wanted the J part of it to stay put, you could put the $sign only in front of the J. That'd be called a mixed cell reference because the row isn't absolute, but the column is. Okay, so that's how those work. They're going to have us to select and create a few things with those types of references. I'm going to hit escape because I'm going to escape the madness here. I didn't want to change anything. We're going to go in cell B28. It's our open one here for the key performance indicator hold time. We're going to type in 15 seconds here. We want that to be our goal. We want 15 seconds. Okay, now we're going to scroll up to L5, seconds over the hold time goal. And we're going to enter a formula. Equals H5, that's the hold time, minus, and then that goal. So we're coming over here and we're pointing to that 15 seconds. But we want it to always point to the 15 seconds. And if we don't put $signs on that, watch what's going to happen. I'm going to hit enter. And let's say I copy this down, okay? I'm not going to undo this. So these numbers are doing some things. But notice what's happening is only the first one is looking at cell H5. When I copied it down, now it's looking down here. It's just not looking in the right place. It's looking on the other rows, okay? So that's not what we want. We want that to be an absolute. I didn't even click in the right cell here for that. That's supposed to be a little confused there. But anyway, okay. So we don't want that to happen. That's what we're saying. We're subtracting that number, and it's looking at B29, B30, and that's not where it is. Watch if I double click. This will make more sense. Okay, so it's looking here, which is right, but now it's looking down here. See? Completely looking in the wrong spot. Okay, so that's why we absolutely look at the 15, because then when we copy it down, all of them look at the 15. So I'm going to undo that twice, and I'm going to put that in again. Equals H5 minus B28, but I want B28 to be absolute. You can type the dollar signs in or click up there between the B and the 28 and press the F4 key on your keyboard, F4. If you're on a Chromebook, you don't have an F4 key because there's no buttons up there. And on our module, on the Excel 3 page, it tells you how to do this on a Chromebook. So you have to go read that Chromebook instructions on there. I think they're even in highlighted yellow. All right, so now we subtract, we get that minus 10. And now if we drag the fill handle down all the way to 515, these will all be looking in the proper place. Now remember, that's going to all turn orange, so we want to fill without formatting just like before. And there we go. And if I double click on one of these over here, see, it's still looking at 15 seconds. Okay, now remember, if you double click, hit escape to escape the madness so we don't mess up our formula. Okay? All right, that's that one. Let's go to the next page. The next one is what's called an if function, a logical if function. Let's go up to cell M5. I'm going to move my head out of the way so we can see. M5, where it says KPI. Okay. This is a logical formula, so it's going to be up here in the formulas tab under logical, and then if. But as always, you could just go to insert function and choose if, or type in if. There's all kinds of things. Or you just literally type it in on here. And honestly, I'm going to type it in just because I'm cool like that. So I'm going to go equals, and I'm going to type if. Okay, let's walk through the steps. And if we had the dialog box on our screen, there'd be a box for each one of these things between the commas. If you're in the online Excel, you don't have those buttons, so all you have is this little number sentence looking thing, okay? So it says if, logical test. See the thing that's bold? Logical test. What's the thing we're testing? Well, what we're going to test is to see if L5, the hold time, which is minus 10, if L5 is greater than 0. That means they were on hold for too long. Okay, because remember, we didn't want them to be on hold for more than, 15 seconds? And they were on hold for 5 seconds. So they're 10 under that. So these people, they were not on hold too long. We're good. They're good to go. However, we're going to say if the hold time was greater than 0, the goal time was greater than 0, okay? And then we say comma. And then it says value if true. So we're going to put 1 as the value if true, and then put comma, and then it says value if false. We're going to put 0 if the value is false, and then close the parentheses. That's the basic format for an if. It's what's the logical argument, what's the argument, comma, what's the value if it's true, what do you want in this box, or what do you want me to do, like you could have it do math, if it's true, and then second, what do you want me to put in this box if it's false? Okay, when I hit enter, it puts a 0 in there because the KPI is 0. It's good. We don't have anything to worry about on that one. Okay, so we got that in there. Now we're going to drag the fill handle. So I'm going to drag this all the way down to 515 like we've been doing, and we're going to fill without formatting because that's how we do. And now if we look through here, the ones with the negatives are going to be zeros. The ones that obviously were on hold for too long, those are going to be 1s in here. That's like that's how we've coded it in here. Okay. So that's pretty much that one. All right, let's come down here to B29. Hold times above goal. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to enter equals sum, and then open parentheses, and we're going to type in M:M. We're going to see how many calls we had. Okay, that's going to look at all of those and tell us how many calls were there. Okay, what that does is it adds all of the number 1s because, the zeros are 0. Adds all the number 1s, and we're going to have 441 calls. So that means 441 customers got a 1 over there. So 441 times where that held too long. Okay, in B30, we're going to put in a formula equals B29, that's that 441 calls, divided by B8. Now, what's up in B8? That's how many calls. So out of our calls, we're looking to see what's our failure rate. How bad we doing here? Going to hit enter, and it's 0.863. We're going to convert that to a percent. So let's go to the home tab and click the percentage button. And that's 86%. So 86% of the calls failed the whole time. 86% of the calls were too long. And you can see by looking at that. Lots of these were longer than 15 seconds. So, wah, 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 wah. Bad times. Okay, moving on to the next page. EX3-11. You already know how to do these. I'm going to go to the support calculator page. Basically, they have you to select certain ranges. So here we're doing B6 to B9. And we're going to format this as an input cell. So up here, you should already know this on your home tab, cell styles. We're going to do input. And then, let's see, they do that in a really long way there. Okay, and then B10, and then non-adjacent cells. So hold down after you click B10, hold down Control, and then drag over 13 to 15 also. And then those, we're going to apply calculation as the one. And then we'll click on B18, and we're just going to drag those four, B18 to 21, and these are going to be output cells. So I'm going here and find the one that says output, which looks a lot like the one I just did. Interesting. Okay. That's sketchy. Yeah, so this one is input. This one is calculation. I guess they're right. They just look a lot alike. Oh, well, I guess they'll look different when we finally put stuff in them because the words and the inside are going to be different. See, one of those is black and one of those is orange. Whew, okay. All right, so we got all those. Those are all good to go. We just don't have anything in them yet. So now we're going to put some values in there. So we're going to go to B6, and they're just having us enter what they're going to call constants. Just we're typing numbers in here. Pretty hard. Okay, so customer calls is going to be 50. In B7, operators available is going to be 14. And B8 is going to be 15. B9 is 16. And then in B10, we're going to be doing math. We're going to take equals B9 divided by 60. We're going to take those 16 minutes and divide by 60 to tell how long in hours that the calls are. 0.27 hours. Okay, B13, they give you the formula equals B6 times B10. We hit enter there. We should get 13.33. We should notice as things are happening over here because they've got some stuff that's calculated over here for us. In B14, we're going to type in equals B13 divided by B7 and hit enter there. That's going to give you 95.24%. And then in B15, we're going to put equals 1 minus, and then B14. I'll just click it, and then we'll hit enter, and that's going to give us 4.7%, 4.76%. So it looks like we have a lot of people who are very busy and only 4% who are free at this particular time. Okay, that's it for that page. 3-12 is looking up data. So we're going to use this chart here to look up stuff. We're going to write a cool little function that will look up in this chart. I love this function. I think it's cool, and it's really pretty easy, but a lot of people don't even know that it exists. So it's pretty fun. I mean, I'm weird, so, you know, fun. All right, so we're going to click on B18. They're going to have you go up to the formulas, insert function, whatever you want to do. It's under lookup. I'm going to type it in. So insert function. The one we're going to use is called Vlookup. It's called Vlookup because these are vertical lookup. It's a chart where they're in columns. Columns are vertical. In advanced computer apps, we do HLOOKUP, which are horizontal rows. This one's columns. Okay, so the box that comes up, and remember, this would be the same thing that would be between commas if we were doing the other way. But I'm going to use this just because I can show you a little bit easier. So we're in here. In the lookup value, what we're going to be doing is we're going to look up the number of operators in cell B7. We're going to point to cell B7. Okay, so I'm clicked on B7, but this needs to be absolute. So I'm going to highlight both of those, the B and the 7, and I'm going to press F4 since I'm on a computer. Otherwise, you can type the dollar signs in. Remember, it has nothing to do with money. It's absolute. It's saying when we copy this formula, keep looking over there. And when we're looking at a VLOOKUP, you're pretty much always going to be doing absolutes on these first two boxes. Okay, now it says table array. That means where is the table? Well, the table's over here where operators, hold probability, where all that is. So they tell us what to type in for that. But basically, it's going to be absolute references to E5 colon H32. And oops, I didn't put my colon in there. E5 colon H32. And I'm going to take all that, highlight it, and press F4 to put dollar signs on it. Okay, so we're going to look up the number of hours in B7, and we're going to look them up in this table. Okay, now it's always going to look them up in the first column. So it's going to look here. It's going to try to match those numbers. Okay, so when it looks at that B7, it's going to look at 14, and it's going to come over here and look for a 14 in the first column. That's just what it does. This answer here, column index number is, okay, I'm going to look in this column to match it, but what column do you want the info from? So like when we look up the 14, do you want from this one, or this one? Okay, this is column 1. The one that it always looks at is column 1. So this answer, never going to be 1. Okay, if we're going to look at the hold probability, we want to put a 2 in there. If we want to put an expected hold, we would put a 3 in there. Okay, they're going to tell us to put 2. Okay. Column index lookup 2. So it's looking here in 2. All right. And then in the range lookup box, the very bottom box, you're either going to put true or false. If you don't put anything, it assumes it's true. True means approximate match. Like if we were saying you make an A if you're in the 90s, that's approximately. If we're saying you have to have a specific number to get a specific thing, that's exact. And exact is false. It even says that right here. Find an exact match equals false. They tell us we're going to find an exact match. It has to be exactly 14, exactly 15, whatever. Okay, we're going to go ahead and hit OK here. All right, and so it says here, if you have 14 operators, the probability that you're going to have to wait on hold is 80.32. That makes sense, right? 80.32. That's the second column. Makes perfect sense. Okay, so that's how that works on here. And if we changed that number to a different number, it would look up a different one. That's the way that goes. Okay, B19. They're going to have us to do another lookup. So we're going to enter this one. We'll type this one in this time. But again, the book doesn't explain any of this. So VLOOKUP and open parentheses. And remember, then it's going to say lookup value. What are we going to look up? Okay, this time we're going to look up B7. Absolutely. So highlight both of those numbers and hit F4. Okay, we're going to look up B7, comma. And then where's the table? It's in the same place it was last time, right? So that's E5 colon H32, comma. And then these are going to be absolute. So I'm going to highlight both of them and hit F4. Check. This time, though, we're looking at the expected hold time. So which column is it in? This is 1, 2, 3. So this is 3. Okay. And then finally, it has to be exact. So false. Okay, close your parentheses. Now again, they just tell you type that into the book. They don't explain it. And you kind of need to know what it means. Okay, so that looks that one up. We can see 1156.63. That's correct. Okay, now in B20, they're just going to basically do the math to make it instead of seconds, minutes. Because that sounds dumb in seconds. So equals B19 divided by 60. Just type it in. Hit enter. That's 19.28 minutes. All right, and then B21. We're going to enter another formula, and we're looking up the failure rate. So you should have this like on lock at this point, right? VLOOKUP. We're looking up that B7 again, absolutely, comma. We're looking it up in that same table range as before. E5 to H32, absolutely, right? And this time what column? 1, 2, 3, 4. Column 4, and it's an exact match, so false. And you get 79.49%. That's it. So that's that one. All right, that gets us to 3-13. They talk about what-if analysis. And let's see. We're going to go to B9, where it says call duration. We're going to change that number, which we had typed in. It was a 16. We're going to type in 11. When you hit enter, it's going to change stuff. See, everything changed everywhere. And everything updated because it's all connected together. Okay, and then in true textbook form, We're going to go back to B9 and type 16 again because, you know, that's our book. Okay. It says in the book that girl, there's just no way they can work that fast. So anyway, now they've said, you know what, 16, so we're going to go up to B7 and we're going to say, you know what, we need to hire some more operators. So how about we get 18 operators? So B7, we're going to try 18 and we look at it. We're just kind of guessing. We're saying like, we're trying to find out if we can get some better numbers on here. Okay. And then we say 25 operators. You know, what's your probability of waiting on hold? Well, if there's 25 operators working, only 0.3, and you're probably only going to hold for 0.24, and nobody's expected to hold very long. So that's a little too much. We don't need to pay for that many people. So basically they're just talking about how do we find out the good answer for that, right? All right, so go to the staffing calculator worksheet. Go to B9. And now we're going to find out how much these people work. So in B9, we're going to enter a formula equals B5 times B6. And it will do the multiplication first. It's going to say 52 weeks times 5 days minus B7. That's how many holidays there are. So they won't work on those days, right? So we hit enter, and it's going to say that's how much they work if we take the holidays away. Like if you don't count the holidays. Okay, in B10, we're going to enter another formula. We're going to go equals B9 times B8. And that's going to multiply the number of days the call center is open by the number of hours worked in a day. So that's going to be 28 hours in a year. Okay, so the call center is open for that many hours in a year. Okay, now we're in B15. We're going to enter this formula. This is equals, and this will be in parentheses, B13 plus B14. That's in parentheses. And then times B8. And that's going to multiply the number of days allotted for vacation and everything by the number of hours per working day. So that means we're going to lose 160 hours because people are gone for being either sick or on vacation. Okay, B20, come down here, equals, we're going to do B9 times, and then inside parentheses, B18 plus B19. You can see what's happening here is we're taking the working days, and we have a training day in there. So people are going to miss for that. So how many daily absences are we going to have? So we're going to hit that in there. And we get 530.375 hours. And then we're going to go to B23. We're going to say, let's say we have 25 operators. And then let's enter a formula in B24 equals B15 plus B20. Okay, so we're adding the absences up because that's how many hours we lose a year. Okay. 730.375. We get all that in there. Now we're going to go to B25. We're going to enter equals B24 divided by B10 to divide the total hours lost by the total hours they're open. That gives us 36%. So 36% of the available hours are not spent on calls. And then in B26, it's equals B23 divided by, and then in parentheses, 1 minus B25. And that's going to be determining a shrinkage factor, which is 39.07 employees. So what they're saying is Kiara would need a staff of 39 or 40 employees to cover the call center at the desired level of efficiency. If we're working all those hours, that's how many employees we need to have. So they basically just had us enter a whole lot of stuff using trial and error. All right. EX3-13B is using goal seek. So this is a fancy little thing under the data tab. We haven't been under data tab. The data tab has in the forecast group under the what if analysis. This thing's very hidden. If you click the drop down, there's a thing called goal seek. Goal seek is kind of cool because you can basically say, hey, instead of trying to do all this math, what do we need to do? Like, if we change this number, how can we get to this number? So the example they say is to put in the set cell box type B26. So we're looking at that B26, the number of employees, okay? B26, okay. Let's say that in the to box, we want to see if we can make do with 30. So 30 employees. By changing the cell, and we're going to say B23. So what can we change on B23 as far as operators on call? What can we change on that to be able to have 30 operators on staff. Okay. So we're going to hit OK. And the goal seek box like automatically like changed stuff. And it said goal seeking with cell B26 found a solution. Target 30, current value 30. And it went through in here and it gave us a number. Remember, this was a number we just typed in there. So now they're saying, well, if you had this many operators, you could do that. And we have a little OK box in here. Okay, and so once you've hit the OK box, you're there. The next instruction is just going to have us switch back over to the support calculator now that we have this number 19. And they're going to have us to go plug that in. And so in B7 here, instead of having 24 operator or 25, we're going to put 19 in here. And that's going to say, give us some data here. Probability waiting on hold, 10%-ish. And you won't be on hold for more than 17.51 seconds. So here you go. We are now at the part where there's a Sam and a big red arrow, meaning time to upload this puppy and see how we do. So I'm going to pause and upload it. We'll see if I messed anything up. Yay! Okay, so we did it. Hooray, as Dora would say. Everything went well the first time. I'm always, I'm not going to record a whole video and know whether it's going to work or not. I just hope, because I feel like I know this stuff well enough, that it's going to work. So anyway, but that did work out. So hopefully you followed along. You've got all that good to go. If not, of course, look specifically and see what you're off on here. It's a lot of formulas, a whole lot of formulas. And functions, of course, a whole mix of all of those. But anyway, that is Excel 3. Again, this textbook project cannot be completed on your Chromebook because of so many of these other things. You could open it up and, try to do the functions themselves. There's just going to be a lot of things that you can't do at all, particularly the autofill and all of that stuff. So, but, if you're stuck at home, might as well give it a try. Try out the functions and formulas and see if you can at least get those to work. So